Rob, let's get it started, though, with Jim Harbaugh and the L.A. Chargers. Now, Harbaugh returned to the NFL, of course, this season as the first-year coach of the Chargers. And they won their opener 22-10 over the Las Vegas Raiders. And, man, they ran all over the Raiders, who have a good defense. Ran for 176 yards on 27 carries. That's pretty efficient. But Justin Herbert, the great strong-arm quarterback, was 17 for 26.
Did he play?
Threw 26 passes. All right. And threw for 144 yards, 1 touchdown.
Third lowest?
And third lowest output yards-wise in his entire career of about 63 games. So that was definitely something that we're going to talk about and get into. Let me say what Herbert said, though, after the game. Herbert was all smiles. Here's what he said. To have a guy, talking about Harbaugh, leading the charge like that and a locker room that buys in and follows him, you know, it's a special day as well for him to get his first win. We'll take as many as we can. Your thoughts, Rob?
I mean, when you win, Chris, of course you just got to, hey, it's great, everything's cool. I just don't understand, and I understand that Harbaugh ran the ball at Michigan. They won the national championship. I get all that. In this man's NFL with a quarterback of Justin Herbert's caliber, I just can't see it. Like, what is the purpose of having him if this is what you're going to do to him, which is to diminish his value? And I'm not saying, Chris, you can't have a running game and a quarterback or whatever, but this seems like this is his plan. The first thing he did is got rid of all the receivers, right?
Right.
Added,
Allen, Mike Williams,
and then added the running backs. I running the football, I'm not against running the football. I just don't know how. If you're trying to win big time, if it works, even when he had Colin Kaepernick with the 49ers, they had success, Chris. They didn't win a championship. I'm not saying that that's the only way.
To the Super Bowl.
Right,
yeah.
They got to the Super Bowl. They lost to Baltimore and his brother, and I get all that. And Jim Harbaugh had really good success in San Francisco. They won a lot of games. But if I'm Justin Herbert, I'm not with it. I'm not saying – I don't want a balanced attack or whatever, but 140-something yards, and this is not their old coach, Brandon Staley. Harbaugh's a better coach than him, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not even putting them in the same sentence, Chris. But to abandon, like, what do you need Justin Herbert for if you just need somebody to throw the ball occasionally, Chris, on third down, long, passing plays that you can't run for a first down? Essentially, Justin Herbert has all the tools. 2 years ago, me and you looked dumbfounded when they had Justin Herbert ahead of Patrick Mahomes in the preseason. You remember quarterback poll?
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
But that's how much
talented he is.
Right, that's how much talent they believe he has and what kind of quarterback he can be. Last year, I've said it, he took a step back last year.
Yep.
Because you remember, Chris, he had all the turnovers late in the games. I remember, what was that Cowboy game? He threw a pick late, right? That cost him the game. And there were a couple of those moments. That's all. I just, you go get Gardner Minshew or whatever. Go get one of those quarterbacks if that's all you're going to do is have somebody hand the ball off to the running backs and throw on a third down every so often. I don't get it. I think Jim Harbaugh is making a mistake here.
I think what he's trying to do, Rob, and I agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, 17 for 26, 144 yards for Justin Herbert. All right, this is a guy in Herbert who, as a rookie, Rob, averaged 289 yards a game passing. Next year, 295. For his career, heck, he's 276 yards a game. All right, so you're absolutely right. This is a guy that can be a prolific passer. However, we know he hasn't had much success as far as winning games. And a lot of that, both you and I, we put on Brandon Staley.
No doubt, Chris. There were games that they could have won.
Yep.
We saw that where he just put the
going
team
for it on fourth down.
Put the team in harm's way.
Situations,
yes.
Absolutely. But the fact is that in his previous 4 seasons, Herbert's made the playoffs once and lost that game. And so I think Herbert right now just wants to win. Just wants to win something. And so that's why I think right now, Rob, he is willing to go along with it now because he's winning. Now, I will say this. When you have the ability, I've used this illustration with Patrick Mahomes. If I'm an NBA player, Rob, and I can average 25 points a game and win, I don't want to average 15. Because I can win averaging 25. I want to play to my highest potential. Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl last year, but said it wasn't that fun. Not the Super Bowl game itself or winning it, but just the season where we know he had probably his worst season as an NFL player.
Right.
And he wants to get back to being able to throw long, to being able to put up huge numbers. And I ain't mad at him in the least bit. In fact, I want to see him do it. I want to see Herbert do it. You want to see the players with star potential play to their maximum ability.
And that's what I'm saying. You're dummying down Justin Herbert for no reason, Chris.
Well, I don't know that it's no reason, though.
Well, but I'm just
what
saying.
I would say is I think he's trying to set a culture where we do run the football. And I think as time goes on, particularly in the future, like coming years and seasons, but I even think progressively this season, you will see more and more passing from Herbert and opening things up. This is my opinion. I could be wrong. But I just think they want to set a tone, change the culture. We're a tough, hard-nosed team. We're going to play hard-nosed football. We're going to be able to beat you up physically. And then once they establish that, then they'll start throwing the ball more. That's what I think they're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that that's the game plan. He runs the football, Chris. That's how you know what I mean? That's his thing.
That's how they won at Michigan.
At Michigan, and I get it. Something works for you. You're like, that's what I want to do. I'm going to run the football. I'm going to change and change the way things are done. It's just that J.J. McCarthy, right, at Michigan?
Yep.
He won Justin Herbert. Much. Okay, but he won Justin Herbert.
And right. if he was, we wouldn't have known it.
Exactly. do you see what I'm saying? Like,
I get it. That's why
there are quarterbacks you have, Chris, where I understand why you're not throwing the ball a lot. I do. Right. I get that.
But that's why I'm saying it's got to be to set a culture. It can't be, or you're just going to end up trading Justin Herbert, and you could get a ton for him. But I think he's a quarterback you want to keep, but you go there, you see they haven't won, so we need to change the culture. We need to change things. But, Rob, if he's planning on doing this all season long, then I think that I agree with you, it's a mistake. But I do think, like, Herbert's not going to be throwing it like he did in the past.
No. That's obvious, right. I agree with that. And it'll just be interesting. It's okay, Chris, when you win and you beat the Raiders and Herbert has 144 yards.
Right.
But if they lose and they can't get much going, then the narrative will change. And then people will start saying, what are you doing with Justin Herbert? How come he's not throwing the football? It doesn't make any sense to me. That's all. It's easy. Like I say, when you win, Chris, winning covers everything. It's the makeup.
The best deodorant.
Absolutely. When you win, hard to argue with anybody on that day.
Right.
So,
but I just think, though, Rob, that they can win. And I was torn between them and the Dolphins for my last playoff spot in the AFC. So they might make the playoffs. There's no question about it. They got a good chance to make the playoffs. You won't win a Super Bowl, I don't believe. In today's NFL, you won't win a Super Bowl throwing it so sparingly. Now, you can make the playoffs. You can be good. But I don't think, Rob, you can win the Super Bowl.
I don't either.
If you don't throw the football.
Not with the other quarterbacks that you're going to play against. I just don't.
Right. Especially in the AFC. You won't even get to a Super Bowl.
Chris, everything is going to be a process to march down the field, eat the clock to try to score, and they're throwing a pass downfield or whatever and scoring in 10 seconds. I'm just saying, like
one thing they do have going for them is that they can throw the football. It's not a situation where you have a quarterback that can't throw, so we just going to be running. That's all we're going to do. It's a situation where you have a guy that can throw the football and you're choosing to run. And that's different because the defense has to stay honest and always be aware of you throwing the football. What I would see, and I told you what I envision, what I think the vision has to be, but I just think over time, Rob, they'll add better receivers. I mean, they got, they got some
had
guys.
good receivers. They got rid
no,
of
they
them.
did, right. I mean, Mike Williams, though, was always hurt. He's now with the Jets and was hurt last night. Keenan Allen's getting a little bit older. So, I get it. You got Lad McConkey and Quentin Johnson, some of these guys.
Is he related to Phil McConkey?
I don't
Remember
know.
Phil McConkey?
Yeah.
With the Giants?
Yeah, I have no idea. But, that's what I think they got to do because I agree with you in that. I don't think you'll win the ultimate prize. Now, we've even talked about Baltimore, obviously, last year. They should have ran more against Kansas City. But they still threw the football. They threw it too much, but they're going to throw the football.
Right.
They're not just going to run and count on Lamar to just get 144 yards.
Nah, that's not.
Plus, they got a running quarterback. That's a difference too.
Yep.